The History of Nursing. In honor of National Nurses Week, Barton Healthcare Staffing presents influential figures and moments in nursing history. Happy Nurses Week! Each year, National Nurses Week honors the work of nurses across the nation. Barton Healthcare Staffing is celebrating in alignment with this year's Nurses Week theme, Nurses, a Voice to Lead, by highlighting poignant figures and moments of leadership throughout the history of the nursing profession. Before we jump in, let's take a look at some ancient nursing history. The profession dates back to antiquity and has a long and colorful history that can be traced back as early as 3000 BC. The earliest forms of nursing can be traced back to ancient Greece, Rome, Egypt, Babylon, and India. One of the first texts to mention nursing was the Charaka Samhita, written in India around 100 BC. The first known Christian nurse is Phoebe, mentioned in the Bible in Romans chapter 16, verse 1. Some of the earliest nurses were nuns in the Byzantine Empire who treated patients in churches and convents. 12th century Europe also utilized religious communities as hospitals, where nuns and monks treated the sick. This just goes to show nursing has come a long way since then. We'll start off our journey through more recent nursing history with Florence Nightingale, who is accredited as the founder of modern nursing. She rejected society's idea that women couldn't nurse strangers and began her formal training at the Institute of St. Vincent de Paul in Egypt. During the Crimean War, Nightingale led a team of female nurses to Crimea in 1856 to provide nursing care to British soldiers. Mortality rates fell drastically within weeks of the team's arrival, and Nightingale proved that women nurses could improve the care of patients. Fun fact, Nightingale became known as the woman with the lamp because she made rounds to check in on soldiers at night. Mary Seacole, who learned nursing from her mother, was an unsung hero of the Crimean War. At the beginning of the war, she applied to volunteer as an army nurse, but was refused because of the color of her skin. Seacole didn't let that stop her, though, so she financed her own trip to Crimea and established the British Hotel, where sick and injured soldiers could receive medical care and meals. Though she was denied the opportunity to serve, Seacole still visited the battlefield to tend to wounded soldiers. The devastation of the American Civil War brought attention to the nursing profession, which led to an opportunity for women to show their capabilities in high-stakes situations. Dorothea Dix, an early 19th century activist and nurse, earned her spot as a superintendent of Army nurses at the start of the war. During her time serving, she took charge of 3,000 women and led nurse recruits with very high standards, resulting in her extreme success. Throughout the remainder of her life, she continued to push for more training and opportunities for women nurses. Fun fact, Dorothea Dix was well known and respected for treating both Union and Confederate soldiers. Clara Barton is another well-known nurse from the Civil War era. She got her start to her nursing journey bringing supplies to the heart of the battlefield during the war, earning her the nickname the Angel of the Battlefield. During a trip to Switzerland in 1869, she learned about the European Red Cross movement to provide neutral aid to those injured in combat. She soon after volunteered to provide civilian relief during the Franco-Prussian War with the International Committee of the Red Cross. Her experience volunteering, along with her work in the Civil War, inspired her to establish the American Red Cross in 1881. Mary Eliza Mahoney's story is nothing short of historic either. Her interest in nursing began in her teens, leading her to work at the New England Hospital for Women and Children as a cook, janitress, and laundrywoman to start. After 15 years of hard work, she was able to finally serve as an unofficial nurse aide. At the age of 33, Mahoney was admitted to the hospital's nursing school in 1878. She then graduated 16 months later in 1879, becoming the first black nurse in history. Fun fact, Mary Eliza Mahoney was one of only 3 nursing students who made it through the rigorous program and training. Let's take a minute to focus on some prominent moments in nursing history, too. This one began when Emma Reynolds applied to Chicago's top nursing school and was denied because of her race. Her brother was a prominent pastor at the time and used his connections to establish a nursing program open to all. This led to Chicago's Provident Hospital being founded in 1892. The following year, the first class of 7 women, including Reynolds, enrolled. Our second historic moment begins during World War I, when about 23,000 American nurses served in the military. They delivered care on the front lines while civilian nurses continued to provide essential services back home. Nurses' special skills were easily transferable to the battlefield, and their success in providing essential care during the war ensured their participation in World War II, where nurses took critical roles in the armed services. In World War II, nurses duplicated their excellent work from World War I with about 78,000 nurses enlisted. But back home, while nursing school enrollment increased rapidly, it wasn't enough to provide the number of civilian nurses needed. To combat the issue, Congress authorized the Cadet Nurse Corps, or CNC, in 1943 in an effort to provide civilian hospitals with skilled nurses. Over the 5 years of the CNC's operation, over 124,000 nurses graduated from participating schools, preventing the collapse of civilian nursing during the war. Fun fact: the American Nurses Association and numerous other organizations have called on Congress to officially recognize CNC participants as veterans. These historic moments were definitely a show of leadership from nurses, but let's get back to the influential figures in nursing history with Margaret Sanger. Sanger blamed the premature death of her mother on her frequent pregnancies, so she became a nurse in hopes of liberating women from what she viewed as a grim class and family heritage. She dedicated her life to advocating for the practice of birth control, writing about women's health to teach that access to birth control is a right. Though she endured arrests and prosecution, Margaret Sanger opened the first ever birth control clinic in the U.S., Planned Parenthood. Yet another exceptional leader in nursing history is Hazel Johnson-Brown, who was always an exceptional student, but was denied from the nursing program in her hometown because of her skin color. She went on to enroll in the Harlem Hospital School of Nursing, where she graduated in 1950 before entering the Nurse Army Corps in 1955. Johnson-Brown served at numerous hospitals around the world as an Army nurse for over a decade while pursuing her PhD, which she received in 1978. She was not only the first female general in the U.S. military, but also the first Army Nurse Corps chief to hold a PhD. Clara Bertschinger is well known for her endeavors in nursing, and upon her return from Operation Drake, a travel expedition around the world, she visited a number of war zones and offered medical care with the International Committee of the Red Cross. Inspired by this experience, she then worked as an ICRC nurse in Ethiopia during the famine of 1984. However, she was haunted by the decision she had to make on who got to eat and who did not due to a lack of resources. She famously partnered with a reporter to raise money and awareness for the cause. This inspired the launch of charities which would raise enough resources to save about 2 million lives in Ethiopia. These influential figures and moments throughout nursing history show us that nurses are indispensable and nothing short of superheroes. So, what does the future have to hold for nurses? Well, to say that nurses are in demand is a huge understatement. The job outlook for nurses is strong and expected to continuously grow, with new nursing openings estimated at almost 195,000 per year. Travel nurses are at a particular advantage now more than ever due to the growing nurse shortage and travel nurses' ability to relocate to areas with the highest need across the nation. Ready to start your travel nurse journey? Contact a recruiter today. You can email us at info@bartonhealthcarestaffing.com, give us a call at 1-888-639-9751, or check out our website at www.bartonhealthcarestaffing.com. And from our team to you, happy National Nurses Week!